K.W. Krieger presents The Obscura Dossier, Episode 23, Down to Lobby. Statement of Amanda Haig concerning the events surrounding a test fire drill in the Cardwell Building during her time of employment. Statement given 12th of September 2023. Statement begins. I get up early. Always have. 4:30 on the dot. Before the sun, before the birds, before the city starts to hum. It's quiet then, and I like that. I walk my dog, Milo. He's a terrier mix, small but thinks he's a wolf. And the streets are empty enough that our footsteps sound way too loud. I get home, I shower, make coffee, oatmeal if I remember, and then I'm out the door by 7. I start work at 8 a.m. sharp. Claim investigations. It's not glamorous, but it's steady and I'm good at it. People think it's tedious, all the forms and the fine print, but I like the routine, I like the detail. You can measure a good day by the number of cases that you close, and there's never enough time to do it all. Of course, the hours go by way too fast, but somehow they still feel long. Our office is on the 23rd floor of the Cardwell Building, one of those glass towers that looks modern until you're inside it. Beige walls, grey carpet, buzzing lights. The kind of place that smells faintly of burnt coffee and printer toner. I sit by the window, though there's not much of a view. Just the reflection of other buildings that look exactly the same. That Tuesday had just been like any other. I was halfway through a stack of reports when the loudspeaker crackled on. Attention please, this is a scheduled fire drill. Please proceed calmly to the stairwell. Nobody panicked. I mean, why would we? We've done this a dozen of times before. Half the office groaned and the rest joked about getting a few minutes away from their desks. I remember saving my document, slipping my badge into my pocket, and standing. The hum of computers faded, replaced by the shuffle of shoes and murmured conversation. Someone laughed, that too loud kind of laugh that doesn't really mean anything. I just joined the crowd and started heading for the stairs. I was thinking about lunch, or maybe how much work I'd have to catch up on when we get back. But nothing about it felt strange or out of the ordinary, at least not yet. The stairwell was narrow. Narrower than I remember. I usually take the elevator, but even before the door swung shut behind me, I felt the air change. It was cold, still, with that faint metallic tang of old pipes and dust. A few dozen of us pressed forward, single file, the sound of shuffling shoes and murmured voices echoing back in waves. I've never liked crowds. The feeling of being hemmed in, of too many people breathing the same stale air, just gets to me. Even in elevators, I always stand by the doors, just in case. But this wasn't so bad at first. It was just a drill, a few flights, and then we'd be back at our desks, joking about the wasted time. Except the stairs felt steeper than they should have been. The walls felt closer. Someone's elbow brushed against me, then another. It felt like every inch of space was filled. Shoulders, coats, the smell of deodorant and warm fabric. I tried to breathe through it, focus on the steps, on the motion of moving forward. One step, then another, that's all. But it started to feel like we'd been walking a while, longer than it should have. The chatter faded to quiet. The rhythm of footsteps was the only sound left. I tried to count how many flights we'd passed. 5, 7, 10? It should have been 3 or 4 at most before we hit the ground floor, but the landings just kept coming. My chest started to ache, not from the exertion, but from the weight of the air. It felt thicker now, heavier with every breath. The space around me seemed to close in, the walls inching closer, the stairway lower, the sound of bodies pressing tighter. I could feel the heat of the crowd, the dampness of shared breath. There wasn't room to stop or turn back, just the line moving downward. I tried to keep my breathing even, but it caught in my throat, shallow and quick. The air felt used up, like there wasn't enough left for everyone. I glanced over the railing, expecting to see the bottom, some glimpse of light or an open door. But all I saw was more stairs, winding endlessly down into shadow. The more I looked, the more I realized I couldn't tell if we were getting anywhere at all. The same walls, the same chipped paint, the same echo, and the space, it just kept getting smaller. I don't know how long we'd been walking. Time had stretched out. It felt like hours, though it couldn't have been. My legs were trembling, my throat felt dry, and my blouse was sticking to my back. The stairwell never changed. The same grey walls, the same flickering light, the same steady rhythm of shoes on concrete, always down, always turning, always more stairs. The air was thick and warm. Too many people packed too close together. I could feel the press of bodies against mine, shoulders brushing, elbows nudging, and there wasn't room to breathe properly. Each inhale felt shallow, as though the air itself was used up, already stale from someone else's lungs. I tried to focus on the motion, just keep moving, one step after another. It helped for a while. But after what must have been 20, 30 flights, I started to wonder. Surely by now we should have reached the bottom. Even in a tall building like ours, there's only so far you can go before you run out of floors. I craned my neck to look down. expecting to see the lobby doors below. Instead, I saw only the curve of the stairs spiraling endlessly into shadow. The sound of footsteps echoed from below too, as if there were people already there, though I couldn't see them. I told myself we were just taking longer because of the crowd, that we were slowing each other down, and the air just didn't move anymore. It sat heavy in my chest, pressing from the inside out. No one spoke. Even the occasional cough or sigh had vanished. It was just the steady tread of countless feet, perfectly in time. I hadn't noticed before, but everyone was moving at the same rhythm. Step, pause, step. Like we were all following the same unspoken instruction. I tried to listen for breathing, but there wasn't any. Not a single sound except the stairs beneath us. I wanted to turn back, but when I looked over my shoulder, the stairwell above curved out of sight. Just another tunnel of light and movement. A wall of suits and bowed heads. For the first time, I wondered if I'd ever reach the ground floor at all. You see, it happened gradually. I didn't notice it at first. I mean, how could I? The light kept flickering, the air kept pressing in, and I was too focused on not fainting. But after a while, I started to realize that something was different. The sound had changed. It was still footsteps, still the dull, even rhythm of soles on concrete. But there was no variance anymore. No scuff, no stumble, no pause to adjust a shoe or wipe sweat. Just one perfect, mechanical pattern. I slowed a little, letting the person ahead of me move forward just to get a breath of space. They didn't. They just kept the same pace. Exactly. That was when I noticed their suit jacket. Dark, pressed, spotless despite the heat. Their hands hung by their sides, stiff and pale. I tried to glance up just to see if I recognized them, but the light above us buzzed and dimmed for a moment, and in that half light I saw what wasn't there. No face. Just smooth, pale skin stretched tight over where features should be. No eyes, no mouth, not even a hint of a nose. The light steadied again and everything looked normal, or close enough that I wanted to believe it. I told myself I was seeing things, that the flicker had played tricks on me, that I was panicking. But the longer I walked, the more I saw it. Not just one. Dozens of them, all dressed the same, all moving in perfect rhythm, each one with that same blank, featureless face, turned just slightly downward. Their heads never moved, but I could feel the awareness of them, the wrongness. I tried to step back, to press against the railing, but it was already too close. The metal dug into my back, and the air was almost gone now. Hot and thick, like breathing through syrup. Someone brushed my shoulder as they passed, and the touch just felt wrong. The skin beneath the fabric was smooth. Too smooth. And cold like porcelain. And that's when I realized the smell had changed too. The faint human mix of perfume and sweat had vanished, replaced by something flat, clean, like paper and dust. I wanted to scream, or push past them, or run back up the stairs, but I couldn't. Every direction was blocked by those same dark suits, those same featureless heads, and still they kept walking. Step, pause, step, all perfectly in time. I don't think they noticed me, at least not yet, but when the light flickered again, I swear one of them turned its head. Just a little. As if listening. I don't remember deciding to move. I just did. Something in me broke loose. The thought that if I just stayed there in that silent crowd, I'd become one of them too. I pressed forward, elbowing through the narrow gaps between shoulders, mumbling apologies out of habit. None of them reacted, not even a twitch. The press of bodies was unbearable, cold through fabric, solid like carved wood. I shoved harder, trying to reach the edge of the stairwell, but the railing was slick under my hands, damp with condensation or sweat. I couldn't tell which. "Excuse me," I said, voice too high, almost a laugh. "Sorry, I just need to get through." Nothing. Their heads didn't turn, but I could feel the attention shift, like the air itself was holding its breath. And then one of them stopped. The sound of its shoes scraping against the concrete broke the rhythm. A single, quiet drag that echoed far too loudly. The others hesitated just a fraction before resuming that perfect, synchronized movement. But that one stayed still. I didn't look directly at it. I couldn't. But I knew it was facing me. I started to move faster, half walking, half stumbling down the stairs, gripping the rails so hard it burned my palm. The light above flickered again, and for a moment the shadows stretched wrong. The walls felt closer, the ceiling lower, the steps longer than between landings. Every turn looked the same, every landing the same walls, the same sign pointing down to lobby. There had to be a door, an exit, anything. But there wasn't. The sound of footsteps behind me changed. No longer the steady rhythm, but slower, deliberate, uneven, following. I didn't look back. If I did, I was sure I'd see them moving faster, closing in. I just kept going, down, down, down. My lungs ached. The world tilted. The walls felt soft beneath my fingertips, like painted skin. I told myself there had to be an end. There always is. Stairs can't go on forever. But every time I rounded a corner, it was the same. The same light. The same shadows. The same sound. Closer now. too close, of shoes dragging in perfect unison just behind me, and for one horrible moment I thought I felt a hand brush mine on the rail. I don't know when I stopped walking. I think I tripped, or maybe someone brushed against me. Either way, I stumbled, caught myself on the railing, and when I looked up, I realized the line of people had gone still. Every single one of them had stopped. Dozens of suits, all motionless, shoulders square, heads tilted just slightly forward. I tried to say something. Excuse me? Or, is everything all right? But the words didn't sound right. They came out thin, swallowed by the stale air. And then one of them turned toward me. He didn't move exactly. It was like watching a photograph shift. Its head turned a fraction too slow, its limbs following a heartbeat later. And when it faced me, I saw it properly for the first time. That blank, smooth skin where a face should have been. The faint suggestion of eyes pressed outward beneath it. Like something was behind the surface, trying to see. I froze. My chest locked tight. I couldn't breathe. Another one turned. Then another. The motion spread through the crowd like a ripple. Every head angled toward me. Those faceless things leaning in just slightly. The way people do when they're about to speak. Except there was no sound. Just that awful, breathless quiet. Then the nearest one stepped forward. The movement was wrong, jerky, too slow to be natural, too deliberate to be clumsy. I stumbled backward, hit the wall, and tried to shout, but nothing came out. Its hand reached toward me. Long, bony fingers, like smooth, skeletal hands reaching out for me. And when it touched my wrist, the cold went straight through my skin. For a second, I thought I could feel its pulse, slow and steady, inside my arm, instead of my own. I pulled back, or tried to, but my legs gave out. The world tilted, the stairwell twisted, the light stretched into white lines, and the sound of my heartbeat echoed like a drum. And then silence. When I opened my eyes, I was lying on the lobby floor. The fire alarm was still flashing, but the sound was gone. The reception desk was empty, the glass doors stood open. I don't remember walking out, but I must have, because I found myself on the street. The air was sharp in my lungs, and the sun just felt way too bright. I just stood there for a long time, watching the building, waiting for someone else to come out. No one did. A few minutes later, people started trickling back from lunch, laughing, talking, swiping their badges. Business as usual. One of them asked if I was all right. I told her I'd gotten dizzy during the drill and stepped outside. She smiled. She said that she hated those things too and went back in. I followed her and took the elevator up. I was still shaken from what I had experienced, but surely it couldn't have been real. I went to the stairwell to check if my suspicion was right, and, well, the stairwell looked different. Wider, cleaner, fresh paint, brighter lights, no sign of damp. It didn't even smell the same. It looked almost like a completely different stairwell entirely. I went down one flight, just one, and came straight back up. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I haven't taken the stairs since. But sometimes, when the building goes quiet and the air conditioning hums just right, I swear, I can hear it again. The sound of footsteps. Slow, mechanical, patient. Coming down, 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 down. Statement ends. This statement is of particular note. It was found at the department reception desk early on the morning of the 14th of September with no record of delivery and no indication of who left it there. The pages were loose, folded once, and secured with a rusted paperclip. There was no cover letter or envelope, only the first sheet bearing a short handwritten note in blue ink along the top margin. Please read this. The document consists of 6 handwritten pages in black ballpoint pen. The handwriting is consistent and careful at first, but becomes uneven toward the end. The final page showing deep pen impressions and several words overwritten. It is signed Amanda H. and dated 2 days prior to its discovery. Attempts to contact Miss Haig following receipt of the document were only partially successful. She confirmed that the handwriting was hers, but claimed not to remember leaving it. When asked if she would discuss the event further, she said, "I've already said enough," and ended the call. Building management for the Cardwell Building reported no scheduled fire drill or evacuation on the date described. Entry records show Miss Haig's keycard was used at 7:58 that morning, but no recorded exit. Security footage from the main lobby between 10 and 11 a.m. is missing, reportedly due to data corruption. A site inspection of the building's stairwell found the structure intact. 23 flights of concrete, recently repainted, though the lower mechanical access levels noted on earlier plans could not be located. The stairwell terminates at a locked steel door on the sub-basement landing. The corresponding key is unaccounted for. Examination of the handwritten pages revealed faint linear impressions running vertically along the lower margins. Under angled light, these marks catch faintly, as though the paper had been exposed to static or breath heat. The final sheet carries a metallic scent reminiscent of burnt dust from an electrical fitting. Miss Haig remains on extended leave. Colleagues describe her as subdued and easily startled, refusing to use any staircase and keeping at least one window open at home, so the air can move. No further incidents have been reported at the Cardwell Building. However, recent maintenance logs note complaints of a slow rhythmic tapping echoing in the stairwell after closing hours, described as measured like footsteps descending. Anomaly code M-317-Theta/Kappa. Classification: locational/psychological. Status: isolated disinformation risk. Priority: moderate. End recording. The Obscure Dossier is a podcast created by K.W. Krieger, licensed under a Creative Commons Non-Attribution Non-Share-alike 4.0 international license. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow us on Reddit at The Obscure Dossier, like us on Facebook, and as always, thanks for listening.